my name is Anna, and today my persuasive essay will be over keeping animals in captivity. Now, has anybody ever seen a show about people in jail? Has anyone ever noticed that they kind of look like animals in cages? Now, why are we comparing these people to animals in cages if animals can't commit crimes? This is a topic of much importance because so many of these animals that everyone enjoys seeing in cages are going extinct or being mentally or physically harmed. Today, I will be giving you 4 major problems that come with keeping animals in zoos. Now, the first problem is that it is believed that zoos are a perfect way to educate people on these animals, but this could not be further from the truth. Now, has everyone been to a zoo? Okay. Have you seen that little board that goes right next to the animal being presented with a few interesting facts about it? Okay. Has anybody actually read it? Most people don't. So what did you all learn from the zoo? Nothing, other than an animal looks really cool. A review published in Animal Studies Repository determined to date there is no compelling or even particularly suggestive evidence for the claim that zoos and aquariums promote attitude change, education, and interest in conservation in visitors. Even a study widely cited to justify the argument that zoos educate the public stated there was no overall statistically significant change in understanding of ecological concepts seen. So basically, zoos are not doing a good job of educating the public on the well-being of animals. Now, speaking of the well-being of animals, zoos are insanely detrimental to an animal's physical health. Edna Francisco in Zoo Carnivores Need More Space, published on October 1st of 2003, presented a study with 35 different species of carnivores, including brown bears, cheetahs, and lions, which found that zoo enclosures were way too small for the animals to carry out their normal routines. This all led to pacing, bizarre behavior, lack of procreation, and, in the end, deaths. Polar bears, for example, paced 25% of the day, and the infant mortality rate went up to 65% due to being in small enclosures. Now, this leads me to my third problem. Captivity not only harms them physically, but also psychologically. Animals can actually get the same mental disorders that humans can. The New York Times released an article by Alex Halsburst saying animal behaviors often see animals suffering from problems not seen in the wild, such as clinical depression in clouded leopards, obsessive-compulsive disorder in brown bears, and anxiety in giraffes. Now, you may think these same problems can happen in the wild, but Irene Pepperberg, a comparative psychologist at Harvard, said an animal in the wild cannot afford to be depressed. It will simply be killed or starve, since its environment requires constant vigilance. So basically what she's saying is an animal doesn't have time to be clouded with these negative thoughts that come from anxiety or depression or any of these disorders, because in the end, they won't make it out alive. And now my fourth problem, which actually includes people. Most people believe the top priority of zoos is animals, but that's not true. Zoos are more recreational uses, so its top priority is actually the public, people. Has anyone ever heard of Harambe? Harambe was a gorilla that was killed because of a 3-year-old little boy that was left unsupervised long enough for him to crawl into the gorilla enclosure. Now, if a visitor intrudes into an animal's crate, it is usually the animal's life that is put at risk. Why should the animal have to die because of the lack of respect of boundaries and restrictions put in place to keep the humans safe? So in conclusion, we have learned that zoos do not educate the public. Zoos actually harm animals physically and mentally. And they put the humans' lives first before animals. A much better way of allowing the public to learn about these animals could be by watching shows or movies or reading articles or going onto different websites that give you live footage of these animals out in the wild where they should be. So what you should take away from this is animals are just as important as humans, so we should protect them at all costs.